Hello, folks. Today you're going to continue to work on your Unit 2 Constitution podcasting project. And today's Wednesday, and you're going to begin to work on developing your script. First, let's make sure that you've completed your work from the last 2 days. So open up your document, which is the Constitution Podcast project document. Let's scroll down to step 2 and 3 and take a look. And you should, at this point, have enough evidence about the topic and have made enough connections using the common function of Google to constitutional principles and ideas that you could probably develop a script that would lead to a podcast of anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes maximum in length. Looking at my notes, I only have 4 pieces of evidence, so I would probably need to double that if I was going to record a podcast of 3 to 5 minutes. So you're looking probably at least a minimum of 8 bullet points. 7 comments is certainly enough, but you could also have more than 8 comments before you're ready to go to step 4. But let's pretend that I've done that. I've made my connection, so it's now time to go to step 4, which is a different document. It's the second document in lesson 2.20. So you go back to lesson 2.20, find the document called Constitution Podcast Script Organizer, and open that up. Start by making a claim about your topic. My topic is about the second impeachment of Donald Trump, and my claim is, based upon my evidence, that the impeachment trial of President Trump proves that the system of checks and balances helps us prevent tyranny. That's the claim I've got to now prove using the evidence and in the script I'm now going to develop. Next, take a look at your podcast choices and highlight the format that you think you're going to use. Given that I'm going to do my podcast as a solo person, I've decided I'm going to do a nonfiction narrative storytelling. Next, begin to script your podcast. If you need some tips, go ahead and click on this link here from NPR about how audio stories begin. Now, start with a claim. I decided to start my podcast with a hook about this astounding fact that prior to 2020, we had only had 2 impeachments in our entire history of a president. And in the last year, President Trump was impeached twice, doubling that number. Then I work on the introduction. I gave a name to my podcast. I'm going to call my podcast What Do I Know? Get it? What do I know? And I explained that we're going to talk about the second impeachment of Donald Trump and then how that will help us discuss the essential question. In segment 1, you're going to explain the background of your topic. Here's where you give the critical information that your audience needs to know so that they can understand the topic. So here's where I gave all the background information on the details that led up to the impeachment of Donald Trump and what happened at that second trial, including how the House voted, as well as how the Senate then acquitted the president. In segment 2, you're going to work on what's the relationship to the Constitution. Here's where you use those comments that you made in our first planning document. And so here's where I'm going to be talking about things such as the House used its impeachment power as a way to check the president, how this impeachment trial was connected to the president's duty to uphold the Constitution and the ideas contained in it, such as ensuring domestic tranquility. And then I talked about how the seriousness of the charge was an example of the House trying to limit the president from abusing power and becoming a tyrant. And then finally, how even though the Senate voted to acquit the president, this is also an example of limited abuse of power because it prevents Congress from just tossing anyone out of office. They actually have to get a significant amount of people to agree. Finally, in my last segment, I talk about what I think this will mean for America, how it shows that we're so divided as a nation, but also that this process shows that no one branch can dominate our government, that they have limited power. Finally, I come up with a closing statement. I explain, I say thank you for listening, and then I pretend that I have a new podcast coming out next week. Once you've developed your script, you can then begin practicing it. Looking forward to seeing what you come up with, and good luck.